On Tuesday, former 10th overall pick in the 2024 draft, JJ McCarthy, went on Up and Adams' show and was asked at what point he was told he was the guy in Minnesota after the Vikings said they no longer are pursuing Aaron Rodgers. Let's hear what McCarthy had to say.
They haven't told me, and I'm happy they didn't, because I try to earn it every single day, and I never want that to be given to me, and it's such a privilege and opportunity to give me that chance, and I'm just going to make the most of it every single day.
Okay, are the Vikings making a mistake not naming JJ the starter for 2025 yet?
Massive mistake. I really appreciate JJ McCarthy having that mentality of saying, you know what, I got to earn it every single day. But at this point, I would question deep inside, what the hell is my team doing? Because based on ESPN's depth chart, I'm the only quarterback on the team. So if I'm not quarterback one, who the hell is coming in to replace me? Well, based on ESPN, he's the only quarterback that's currently under contract. So, I mean, the fact that the Vikings are saying, you know what, we're not going to name you the starting quarterback yet officially because maybe Aaron Rodgers potentially is coming in. No, I think that this kills morale. I think that this does kill mentality, and I appreciate JJ McCarthy's maturity in saying I got to earn it every single day. But some things have to be given to you. They traded up to get you in last year's draft. You were the 10th overall pick. They believed in you, and I think there was a high likelihood that if you did not get hurt in preseason, which, by the way, you didn't even know you got hurt until your leg blew up, I would assume that you would have started at least a couple games last year, if not started week one, because it was trending that way, especially after your phenomenal preseason game. So I think that right now, the situation for the Vikings should be JJ McCarthy is quarterback one until further notice. And the until further notice is not coming, because I don't think you should be going after Aaron Rodgers anymore. Now, signing Rodgers would make some sense because the Vikings are the only team where Rodgers doesn't need to be the savior. You have actually a stable running group with Aaron Jones. You have 2 to 3 really good to great wide receivers in Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and Jalen Naylor. He was catching touchdowns like nobody's business last year. You have a phenomenal tight end in TJ Hawkinson. Your offensive line is okay. Christian Darrisaw is coming back from injury, so that obviously helps you. Your defense was one of the best defenses in the NFL last year, and you went 14-3 with Sam Darnold. So I think right now, signing Rodgers would only be because you don't have enough confidence in JJ McCarthy that he could at least maintain some level of the way Sam Darnold did. And I think that actually is an inflection of how good Kevin O'Connell could be. If he doesn't have faith that his own talent, his own coaching ability could replicate what he did with Sam Darnold, I mean, Kyle Shanahan believed that he could fix Sam Darnold. Got him a 3-year contract with the Seattle Seahawks eventually after going to Kevin O'Connell. But Kyle Shanahan saw something in him. I mean, he made Brock Purdy go to the Super Bowl and go to another NFC Championship game. He let Jimmy G go to a Super Bowl and an NFC Championship game. I don't think Kyle Shanahan has any lack of confidence. Kevin O'Connell not trusting a rookie? Kyle Shanahan trusted the very last pick in the draft. So I have a bit of an issue. JJ McCarthy going into his second year. Michigan, he played 40 games. He had 155.6 passing yards per game. He was not relied upon. He only averaged 17.8 pass attempts per game, which, once again, wasn't that relied upon. But in the Vikings system, I think it could work beautifully because I think that JJ McCarthy is a very intelligent quarterback. You have all the pieces in play. I mean, this would be a rookie or a young quarterback's dream to go to a team with Aaron Jones, who's a 1,000-yard running back, Justin Jefferson, who's the best wide receiver in the NFL, Jordan Addison, who's probably the second or third best wide receiver, too, in the NFL. TJ Hawkinson is a fringe top 5 or maybe completely in the top 5 of tight ends. Your offensive line is stable enough, but obviously you made some great pickups in free agency with Will Fries and Ryan Kelly. So I think that this offensive line is set to improve from last year. And your defense, you still got Brian Flores as your DC. You have Byron Murphy. You have Harrison Smith back. Andrew Van Ginkel had a phenomenal year. You sign Hargrave. You have Jonathan Grenard. You have Jonathan Allen. I mean, you have pieces. You made a bunch of moves. You made a bunch of plus moves. But at your quarterback position, he's the only quarterback on your roster. A little bit surprised they wouldn't name him quarterback one. I think right now, I mean, to me, if I'm sitting here saying, well, I'm the only quarterback on the team and you haven't told me yet that I'm our starting quarterback for 2025, I would start questioning how secure my job is, at least for the time being. Now, I want to preface this. I fully expect for him to be the week 1 starter. I just think right now, he was supposed to be the starter probably last year. why not just say, hey, you're our starter now? There's something behind the scenes a little bit. Maybe they haven't given up on Aaron Rodgers completely.
Yeah, maybe. Now, McCarthy told the press this week that he has not been told that he will be the team starter in 2025, as you said, but that the meniscus injury that sidelined him for all of 24 won't prevent him from competing for the job. The general manager said naming McCarthy the starter is the outcome we want and the outcome we're headed towards. However, Adolfo Mensah, that's his, I'm sorry, maybe pronouncing his
Vikings
name.
GM.
Vikings GM, right, refused multiple opportunities to rule out the possibility of revisiting discussions with Aaron Rodgers later this offseason if he's still available. For me to sit here and say that anything's 100% forever, that's just not the job, said the GM. We're responding to scenarios and different information as it comes in. So obviously things can change, but right now we're happy with our quarterback room, and we're going to look to upgrade it in different ways. Well, how could they be happy with a quarterback room that only has Brett Ripien as his other signed quarterback besides JJ McCarthy? He's the only other quarterback under contract. Offers were made to Darnold and Jones, Daniel Jones, but they both chose to sign elsewhere, assuming that McCarthy would be the starter or take over early in the season. The Vikings likely want to wait until after free agency ends on April 29th for free agents to count towards compensatory draft pick formulas before signing another quarterback. McCarthy has been cleared for off-season activities. He is working to gain back 20 pounds he lost during his recovery from the meniscus tear. He is set to take the first team reps when the on-field workout begins later this spring. McCarthy is not he's met every expectation of the Vikings aside from the injury. It's the team's job to set up a quarterback room that's going to have to provide insurance in case somebody needs to come in for a couple of games. That's why they spoke repeatedly with Aaron Rodgers, according to the GM. I think McCarthy's going to be named the starter if he performs as expected in the minicamp. The Vikings are being cautious and don't want to get ahead of themselves. That's my view.
I mean, how can you get ahead of yourself? Are you even taking your first step?
Well,
they're tentative to even take that first step.
Remember, O'Connell said earlier this season, after the new year here, that they wanted to get McCarthy on the field, see how he's progressed physically and where his head is at. And he is down 20 pounds right now from where he was game weight when he was in preseason last year. So,
well,
but you know what? This is all an ego thing with the
eat a couple burgers, lift a couple weights, you can put on 20 pounds.
He's going to put the weight on
very easily.
I think this is an ego thing with the leadership. They've got this Byzantine process they're following. It's ultimately going to result in him being named the starter unless something wacky happens with Aaron Rodgers, which I doubt.
They already said publicly they're not pursuing Rodgers. But the fact that the Vikings GM is keeping that door even open slightly, to me, that's idiotic in a lot of ways. Because, yeah, you're talking about a win-now situation potentially, because these guys are just going to keep getting older and more expensive. I can understand that. But at some point, you got to hand the reins over. Give it to a guy. Give it to a quarterback you traded up for to get. Now, it was only one pick, and the Jets weren't really looking for a quarterback at the 10 spot. But still, I mean, you drafted him for a reason. It was him and Sam Darnold. You were going in a quarterback competition between those two teams. You didn't want Sam Darnold for the expectation that JJ McCarthy is good to go. But then Rodgers was interested in the Vikings. Then you turned him down. So now there's only, you're saying two quarterbacks, but I guarantee you Brett Ripien's not going to be taking over the Vikings starting quarterback job ever.
I know that, but he's not even a legit backup. I think that they got to have somebody, as this guy, the GM says, if McCarthy's out a couple of games or the starter's out a couple of games, who's going to come in and replace him?
Well, there's one quarterback that's, I believe, just went to the CFL or the UFL, Trey Lance. I believe the C. I could be wrong, but yeah, no, one of the tier 2 NFL leagues, tier 2 football leagues, they signed him. Or they're they put him on the contract negotiation list to see if he does want to play there. By the way, again, just want to poke the bear with my stick of saying Trey Lance was a bust. Just have to poke that bear a little bit. Again, said this 2 years ago, but I digress.
Doug Flutie went to the CFL, and then he came back to the NFL.
He was not a good
well.
quarterback. He's what,
3,000 yards?
Good.
He was good for San Diego. He played well for them.
For
He played well for the Bills, too.
For like 3 years in San Diego. That was at the end of his career. But, I mean, if I was JJ McCarthy, I appreciate his maturity in saying that I have to work for it every single day. That's what you want from an extremely young quarterback, to have that type of confidence in himself and the maturity to do that instead of being pissy about it. You know, maybe some passive-aggressive comments here and there, kind of like Aaron Rodgers does. But at some point, you got to be like, hey, what's going on here? You traded up to get me. I'm your young quarterback. I was projected to be the starter at some point last year, and then I got hurt. Yeah. What's the deal?
Oh. I think they name him the starter. It's a publicity thing. They're getting press out of it. It's good for the team. And who knows, behind the scenes, maybe they whispered in his ear, don't worry, you're going to be the starter. We'll have to wait.
I don't know why I would say that, though. If you were asked, hey, when did you know that you became the man from Minnesota? He comes out just candidly and says that they never told me. I don't think they whispered in his ear, by the way, you're going to be our starter.
Probably not. You're probably right.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for watching this clip of the Harvey Hour. If you want to watch the full show, you can by clicking the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to take the show with you on the go, it is available wherever you get your podcast. We go live here on YouTube every single Tuesday and Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, so make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, and the notification bell to get notified whenever we upload a video and whenever we go live.